Hello everybody, I'm Wolf der Panzerlehrer, and today I'll be discussing tank crewmanship. I'm using a text-to-speech app because I had a stroke while reading my own script and bit my tongue. If you wish to read it for yourself, I put the link in the description below. There will be 3 sections to this video, and assuming I did it correctly, there will be timestamps to allow you easy access to each section along the time bar below as indicated by the blue arrow on screen. The 3 sections are as follows. Section 1. The Basics. Section 2. Callouts. And Section 3. Tanks. Each section has information which can be instrumental in the success or failure of your unit. Without further ado, enjoy the video. Section 1. The Basics. The HUD includes all the indicators on your screen. Each member of the tank has a few extra tidbits to the HUD, but in general you all have a few major similarities. At the top of your screen, you see a few key things. Firstly, the time remaining in the match. Below that you'll see 5 sector markings indicating sectors, and which team holds them. Blue indicates a friendly captured sector, red/orange indicates an enemy sector. If the sector has a lock over it, then it cannot be captured until the next sector is taken, unless you are a defender on an offensive map. Near the bottom of the screen, you'll see a turret icon in a circle with 1 arrow, 11 deep white lines and 12 thin white lines, and while there are 12 dots, they are small enough that they are hard to see. The turret o'clock indicator will tell you where your turret is facing compared to the hull of the tank in real time. The arrow is the 12 o'clock position, and the deep white lines are 1 through 11. The thin white lines indicate the 30 past indication, so if I said to point the turret to 12:30 it'd be this first thin white line. Below that is the damage indicator. There are 4 types of damage. From left to right it goes. Hull damage, which will cause you to explode if it goes to 0. Turret damage, which will cause the turret rotation to be less than a quarter of the normal rotation speed and have no coax when it goes below a %. Engine damage. Tank will stall when engine goes to 0 and can't be restarted until it's practically fully repaired. Track damage. When tracks go below a certain percentage you are unable to go above first gear until they are repaired. At the very bottom of your screen you'll see the bearing indicator, with directions labeled every 45 degrees. They are north at 0, northeast at 45, east at 90, southeast at 135, south at 180, southwest at 225, west at 270, and northwest at 315. To the left of that is your crew members with their statuses. White means alive, red means downed, gray means deceased. To the far right you'll have the tank crew positions and who is manning them. Tank Commander. For future reference. During this video I will be referring to the spotter position as the tank commander. This is due to the fact that most crews will have this as the setup, as it is usually the most effective setup for a few reasons. The tank commander can see all the team's markers, and even place markers for the crew without having to worry about gunning or driving. There is no extra HUD element in a tank unless it is a recon tank. Shown here, then it will have this marker here. If you hold right click you'll see a blue hemisphere as shown here. When you left click it will show enemies in that marked area on the map for the whole team, and it must be reloaded by hitting R before you can use it again. As for the tank commander's responsibilities, they have to keep their head on a swivel using their periscope, which can be used by zooming in or out and looking around. They will also be pinging targets, as well as marking targets for the crew from other units, setting move markers and giving directions or callouts to the crew when possible. Gunner. The gunner position is different on many tanks because the sights aren't all the same, nor is the velocity, but some general knowledge and practices are as follows. The controls are as follows. W/S is the elevation of the turret. A/D is the turret rotation keys. Holding shift can fine-tune your aim, and zooming in or out can decrease or increase your rate of motion respectively. To switch round types you must hit 1, 2, or 3. To get ammo of new type you must clear the breech of a round by firing it, either fire at a target, or if no target is present aim towards the sky. To reload hit R. To fire main gun left click. To fire coax right click. As you can see, there are two types of ammo in this tank, armor piercing also known as AP or sabot. For brevity, not all AP rounds are actually sabot, and high explosive or HE. Some say heat, but again for brevity not because it is actually a heat round. The two types of ammo shown here have different uses. He is better when dealing with recon tanks, trucks, half-tracks, infantry, or spawn points, as it has a splash radius. While he is great at those, AP is better for hitting tanks, and common practice is to load AP first since you can kill infantry with AP, but you can't kill a tank with HE, as the saying goes. With this being said, you may notice that on some tanks in the American arsenal have a third type of ammo, namely, the M4A3 Sherman, the medium tank, and the Jumbo 75, Heavy 75 sometimes referred to as just the 75, it's a round that is useful for assisting infantry, or smoking out an enemy tank. When used properly even new crews can stop an enemy tank from hammering their team without exposing themselves to fire. Enough about the ammo types, now we talk about the coax. You have to aim up more than when firing the main gun since it has more drop, and this box here shows how much ammo it has at the moment, as well as how many ammo belts are left. Driver. Recon. The driver has a lot to look at. The HUD has some new additions. Next to the vehicle seat indicator on the right you have two new circular HUD pieces. The one on the right is the current speed, in kilometers per hour. The one on the left is the RPM indicator as well as current gear indicator. The controls for driving are simple for the Recon tanks. This is because it automatically shifts gears. Holding E starts the engine. W to go forwards. S to stop or go into reverse. A and D to turn left or right. As the driver, you are also the most likely to spot AT mines on the roads, so always keep your eyes peeled. Driver. Light to heavy. As the driver of a full-fledged tank, you have a few more things to consider, namely, the engine RPMs, what gear you're in, and what you need to get over, if applicable. Similar to a stick-shift vehicle, you need to get the RPMs high enough before you can shift up. So keep RPMs in mind so you don't stall the tank. Pulling two opposite hard turns in a row will easily stall most tanks, so give your RPMs a moment before pulling an opposite turn, listen to the tank commander for directions, and always be ready to move. On some tanks you'll have a hull-mounted MG. If you do, then this little box will appear above the MG ammo and crew seating indicators. Where you look is where the MG aims. That little window can tell you where in relation to the hull it is actually aiming. A lot of the things you need to know about specific tanks are in Section 3, such as the general characteristics, how to identify them, and what features they have. This includes whether you have a hull mount or not. As the driver you'll typically be the person hopping out for repairs, but that's not always the case, especially when you don't have a repair tool. Section 2. Callouts. Explanation. Why do we use callouts? Mainly for the sake of brevity. The more time you spend speaking the more likely you are to get knocked out due to delays and inaction. Not everyone uses the same callouts, but some of the callouts I'll teach you are universal, such as the o'clock method, and the bearing callouts. Some are common sense or common language and as such are universally understood, so long as the language you speak is common, that is a keyword. The phrases and words used can greatly impact how well you perform due to the fact that communication is key. Plain and simple. Tank commander to command. When speaking with command, it's important that you are able to hear them, and they will likely not be using most of the terms that you as a tanker will use. However, when you speak to them there are some common questions and responses to use. All crew members can use these ones. Roger/heard/copy/acknowledged, I heard the message. Wilco, will comply. Affirm/affirmative, yes. Negative, no. Received, thank you. Bearing number, from X position. Range number, in meters. Tank, there is a tank, note, you'll usually give a direction or bearing. Infantry, non-AT infantry. AT. PC, transport Vic/vehicle. SV, supply Vic/vehicle. Half-track/halfie, half-track. Trench, we're about to hit a trench, usually used to alert driver, but anyone can call it. Right on us. Within 15 meters. Mount up/dismount, get in/get out. Tank commander will usually use common language with the rest of the team to identify targets, but these are the typical questions and phrases. Any active tank marks? Can we get infantry support? En route, position. Engaging, vehicle type. Scratch 1/destroyed enemy, vehicle type. Disengaging, to repair, rearm, or escape AT. Need repairs, note, if no engineers are available then RTB. AT on us. Request, vehicle type, at, left, center, right or top, mid, or bottom spawn. X squad, is that tank mark actual, or, is it still alive? Tank commander to gunner. While the first set of phrases and responses stay the same, when speaking to the gunner, there are some key things to remember. Whatever you tell them to do must be understood. When giving a target callout, remember to ping the target so the gunner knows where to look and so he knows the distance. Gunner, signals crew member. Ammo type. Target type. Traverse, direction. Turn turret, o'clock/bearing. Enemy, tank/enemy type, on ping. Usually for when the turret is already close to the tank/enemy in question, but the gunner doesn't see it yet. On. The gun is in the right direction of the target or is looking directly at target. Short, round landed short of target, aim up a little. Far, round aimed too high. Turret shot, not the best but sometimes it's good. Good shot/hit. Hitting him where it hurts. Target cease fire, target is destroyed, cease fire. Examples of gunner target callout. Gunner say bow tank, traverse right, 300 out. Gunner coax infantry, traverse left, 50 out. Gunner heat PC on us, traverse right. Gunner turn turret 11 o'clock. Tank commander to driver. The driver has a lot of common language directions. But some of the ways to get the driver to turn correctly are not common language, and as such can be misconstrued, making a wrong turn possible, so remember to get a crew who also watched this video, as this can be misinterpreted and cause a wrong turn in a high-stress situation. Driver, signals crew member. Follow up/bring us up in, gear and direction, i.e. bring us up in third on that road. Show armor, bearing, means to face frontal armor in that direction. Hard, left/right, basically a 90-degree angle turn. Turn, left/right, through opening or bearing. Move us, off this road, on that hill, etc. Get us out of here, full retreat, don't stick around, we're in danger. Turn ass, right/left, reverse and turn our butt in that direction. Halt. Stop. Level us out. Get on flat ground. Gunner to tank commander. While the gunner's job is pretty much just to shoot, letting the rest of the crew know what you're doing is always good. These are good things for you to do, say and ask when playing as gunner. Most of these are things you're saying not just to the commander, but mostly the whole crew. I'll start with those. Loading, ammo type. Ready, you hear the thumping of the round ready to load. Up. Ammo is ready to fire. Identified, I see the target and have identified it in the reticle. On the way. Firing main gun. Hitting M with coax, firing coax. Traversing turret, left, neutral, right. Neutral turret just means that it's facing the 12 o'clock position roughly parallel to the hull. No shot. I can't hit him, but I see him probably going to also ask to move. Tracking, I see where I will be able to get a shot when he peeks. Next up is the stuff aimed at the tank commander. It's not much, but just some general things. Do you want AP or HE? What do you want me to load? Where, S, he/are they, at? I can't see the target, mark him or have us retreat if we are in danger. Magic missile. When you one-shot an enemy vehicle without being able to properly see it, or when you one-shot a vehicle stronger than your own. Gunner to tank driver. When the tank is pursuing an enemy vehicle and the gunner is unable to get a shot, they can sometimes tell the driver what to do. Remembering to use the same terms that commander uses for the most part, the only real difference is who is calling things out. I put this here just so you know that this is something you should do when you need that extra bit of depression or that extra bit of elevation to hit a target. Mostly you'll be getting them to move just a bit forwards, backwards, or just telling them to get level again. Section 3. Tanks. Importance. Knowing the vehicles of your friends and enemies is imperative to your survival in the field as well as giving accurate reports, all while you know their abilities and your own. If you know what type of tank you're facing, then you'll be capable of determining whether you can fight it head-on, or if you need to get around its sides or rear. While some tanks I am unable to get an armor profile for, there is something called the Tank Bible, which I will link in the description. I recommend looking at it for the American, Russian and German vehicles. Each tank will have its known names and maybe even the original nicknames. Types of tank. In Hell Let Loose, at this time, there are only 4 types of tank, but each has their own strengths and weaknesses. Recon, one shot with HE, but fast, with spot ability. Light, faster than mediums, less armor than medium, better than Recon, small gun. Medium, decent mobility, hull mount, decent armor, decent gun. Heavy, typically slow, hull mount, good armor, good gun. There are some exceptions to the general characteristics above, but generally they're similar in performance. German. Recon tank, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234, SDKFZ 234, aka Puma. Easy to identify due to the 8 wheels and longer barrel, giving it a unique profile even at range. Functionally the same as other Recon vehicles, no hull mount. Light tank, Panzer II, PZ2, aka Lux. Easy to identify due to the small size and small guns. The sound is a dead giveaway when it fires. It is able to kill Recon vehicles and trucks easily, but not much else, as the gun is technically weaker than a Recon/light vehicle gun. No hull mount. Medium tank, Panzer IV F2, PZ4F2, aka Smokey Joe. Easy to spot the difference because the road wheels are small and the angular turret with a long barrel protrudes forwards a distance. Its gun packs a punch, but the distinct shape can make it stick out in many places even when covered by foliage. Hull mount. Heavy tank, Panzer V, PZ5, aka Panther. Easy to spot due to the angled hull and large interlocked road wheels, very good gun/reload, decent armor, good mobility. Hull mount. Heavy tank, Panzer VIe, PZ6e, aka Tiger. Easy to spot due to the large flat areas on the tank, and the large segmented appearance of the barrel and the large muzzle brake of the 88mm cannon on the rounded turret. The road wheels are also interwoven with thick and wide tracks. It's very slow, but has very good armor, and a good gun. Don't be fooled, you are nowhere near invincible with this. If you get flanked or tracked, it's practically a death trap then. Hull mount. American Recon tank, M8 light armored car. aka Greyhound. Easy to identify due to the 6-wheel configuration, small stature, small turret, and overall AAV-like characteristics. Functionally the same as other Recon tanks. No hull mount. Light tank, M5A1. aka Stuart. Easy to identify from the angled upper and lower glacis, front plates, and the flat sides with the VVSS-type suspension. The turret has some strange curves which make identifying it from the turret only simple. It has an okay gun, decent armor, due to high chance of deflection, and good mobility, also the only light tanks, at this time, which boasts a hull mount. Medium tank, M4A3, aka Sherman. Easy to spot, but it has enough similarities to the M4A3E2 that people can get confused. They have similar profiles, but you can see the differences when you look very closely. Decent armor, decent gun, decent mobility. Hull mount. Heavy tank, M4A3E2. aka Jumbo 75. As you can see, there are some differences between the M4A3E2 and the standard M4A3, namely, the turret is more shapely, and the armor plates appear thicker. Good armor, same gun as medium M4A3, mobility same as M4A3E8 slow. Hull mount. Heavy tank, M4A3E8. aka Jumbo 76, Easy 8. Extremely easy to identify among other American tanks due to the long barrel, the general shape is the same as the M4A3E2, and the armor profile is the same as well. It has a good gun, decent armor, and okay mobility. Hull mount. Russian Recon tank, BA-10. aka BA-10, Russian Recon vehicle. The very car-like appearance makes this easily recognizable, along with the odd turret/cab. It is functionally the same as the other Recon vehicles. No hull mount. Light tank, T-70. aka Typhoon. Its small size makes it stand out compared to some other tanks, with the angled upper and lower glacis, front plates, and flat sides with small overhangs giving it a pretty distinct look. The gun is okay, it has good mobility, and decent armor, due to chance of ricochet. No hull mount. Medium tank, T-34-76. aka Mickey Mouse. This has a relatively distinct shape. Many people know the beautiful angles of the T-34 with its relatively short turret. It has a good gun, good mobility, and good armor, due to chance of ricochet. Hull mount. Heavy tank, IS-85. aka Object 237, IS-1. At first glance, especially at a distance, you might mistake it for a T-34 if you don't look closely enough at it, or don't have a good view. However, you'll notice the larger turret, longer barrel, and the upper glacis is different. Very good armor, due to chance of ricochet, good gun, okay mobility. Hull mount. British Recon tank, Daimler Mark II armored car. aka Daimler armored car, LAFV, British Recon Vic. The most distinct feature is the wheels and the hull. The turret was taken off of a Tetrarch light tank. As you can see above, the wheels are rather large. It is functionally the same as other Recon vehicles. No hull mount. Light Tank Mark 7. aka Tetrarch. The distinct shape of the hull, particularly the upper glacis, makes front ID easy. The 8 large road wheels make side identification easy, especially with the distinct turret, which I might add is also in use on the Recon tank. The armor is decent, mobility good, the gun is okay, due to the difficulty of aiming. Reticle ranges when zoomed in are not accurate. No hull mount. Medium Tank, Cruiser Mark 8, aka Cromwell. The distinct shape of the hull, turret and barrel length, you can spot this thing, and identify it pretty well. Decent armor, good mobility, decent gun. Hull mount. Heavy Tank, M4. aka Sherman Firefly. It's a Sherman. If it's on a British map then you see a long-barreled Sherman, it's this bad boy. Gun is good, especially for sniping, mobility is not very good, armor, decent, frontal only, does not have a hull mount. Heavy Tank, Infantry Tank Mark 4, A22. aka Churchill. You can see the flat look and many small road wheels very easily. The turret is also very rounded with a distinct muzzle brake. Decent mobility, very good gun, very good armor. Hull mount. This isn't exactly part of the video, but you do, in fact, exit the vehicle how you enter it. If you enter while prone, you will exit prone. That was all for this video. If you need more information, there are links to some other resources, or feel as if I missed something important, please let me know.